2.30. Okay, then we're gonna say IP helper address. Then we put the IP address of the server .10.20.10 and do right. Doing this will make this one get an IP address. So we're gonna put static, make it start to look for an IP address in the management VLAN. Okay. We're also gonna check port F03. So we're gonna say do show interface 03 switch port, and we can see that it's in trunking mode. Okay, and we're gonna say interface bus 03 switch port trunk switchboard trunk. Then we're gonna say native VLAN 30. Yeah. Then we're gonna, because we said it's a native VLAN that is going up there. Then we're gonna say switchboard trunk allowed VLAN. I'm gonna allow all of them, for example, but it's not wise to do this. And we're gonna say do right. We should be able to ping the gateway now. Ping. You see? Now we are able to ping this gateway, and we are able to ping this one. So we're gonna call this PC a management PC. Management PC here. This is the management PC. So let's close here. Let's try to access the web GUI for the wireless LAN controller. Okay, for the first time you have to use HTTP. Then once you have set the password and login, username and all this stuff, that's when you're going to be using HTTPS. So we're going to say 10.0.0.2. Then we say go. It's trying to connect. It takes a couple of minutes to connect to the wireless LAN controller there. Yeah, wireless is connecting. Let's check if the AP has got an IP address from the DHCP. As you can see now, the AP has an IP address of 10.0.0.102/24, which is a good thing. Now our AP has got an IP address from the DHCP. Okay, let's go back to the management port. See, it's still trying to connect. This will take a couple of minutes, then I will have to pause the video, and once it is connected, I'll come back and show you how we're going to configure the wireless LAN controller. Okay, now that it's connected, we can have the wireless LAN controller like this. This is the web graphical interface. It prompts us to create an admin username and password. I'm going to put my password here. And I'll put my password here. Just confirming it. Then we say start. Just system name, let's name it wireless LAN controller 1. Country, now I am in the Eastern time. Then this is optional. Management IP, let's just give it the same management IP address that we are currently using, that 2. It's 255.255.255.0. Then the gateway is the sub interface 10.0.0.1. Okay, this is going to be like untagged traffic because packet tracer wireless LAN controller, it doesn't support trunk ports, so we're going to leave it at 0. Then we're going to say next. If you want more explanations about anything that you see here, you can also go to Jeremy's IT lab. He has like an explanation of that. So network name, we're going to call it management as usual. Management. Then for security, we're going to use personal. Then we're going to, let's say CCNA, phrase CCNA 2025. Okay, phrase CCNA 2025. And say next. This one you can have more explanation about this one during its IT lab. Next. So please confirm settings and apply. So you can see, then we're gonna apply. We say okay. This will take a couple of minutes to do this, to reboot, because it's rebooting the wireless controller now. But I will show you once it's done. But to make it quick, I will wait for this one to get green, and I will know that this is up. So I'll leave this one for now, right? So we're gonna create a dynamic interface for wireless LAN for IT and engineering. But the devices that are going to connect to this wireless controller are going to get IP addresses from the external server that we configured last time. You can use SVIs to actually do the inter-VLAN routing, and you can use those as your default gateway, or you can use the internal DHCP of the wireless controller. But I decided to use the external, but I can also show you where you can configure an internal DHCP from the wireless LAN controller. So now this is green. Let's try it. Okay, it's still doing this. Okay, let me close this one to make it quick. Then we're gonna try and ping the wireless LAN controller again. We should be able to ping it. Yes, we're still able to ping it. But now that we have set the username and password, we are not going to use HTTP because this is not secure. So we're gonna use HTTPS. If you use HTTP, it's gonna fail. So let's close this one and log into the wireless controller again. Wireless controller it takes time. So now we're going to use HTTPS to connect to it. 10.0.0.2 HTTPS. Yes. And go. Now you can see this is now the interface of our wireless LAN controller, and it's saying login. Then we're going to log in. We give it admin, then my password. When we say login, it takes a bit of time to log in, but we're gonna wait for it and see. Now we are into our wireless LAN controller. From this point, the access point that we added to our network here is going to create a kept web tunnel with the wireless LAN controller. That is for management traffic and data traffic. So it should be on the list. Okay, let's gonna show under the monitor here. We're gonna see if we have. You can see we have all APs. We have one, which is the one that we have added. It is already created a kept web tunnel with wireless LAN controller. which is a good sign. All right. So we're gonna create now. First, we're gonna create the dynamic interfaces. So we go to controller. It takes a bit of time to do it. Then under interfaces, you can see we have the management interface, but we want to create dynamic interfaces for the wireless LANs. So we go here, we're gonna go say new. We're gonna say interface name. We're gonna call it, let's start with ENG. ENG, VLAN ID, it's VLAN 10. Then we're gonna say apply. Okay, so now we're gonna create a port number, but to see which port is active, you come here on ports. I'm sorry, this will always take a little bit of time, like a few seconds to load up. Then you can see which port is open, like port number 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5. That's the ports that we have on our wireless LAN controller. But this one is the only way to link up. All of them are down, so we're gonna use port 1. So we go back to interfaces. Takes a little time. Then we go to ENG, the interface that we have created before. We have already put the VLAN identifier, but port, we put port number 1. Then IP address. Let's use 10.0. Let's check the IP addresses in here. It's in the range 10.10.10.1. So we're gonna give it a 10.10.10.7, for instance, because we reserved these IP addresses on the DHCP server. 255.255.0. Gateway is gonna be 10.10.10.1. I guess. Let's check the gateway for this one. Yes, 10.10.10.1. Then the DHCP server is this one. So we're gonna configure 10.20.10. Okay, this is done. We have this interface. Then you say apply. Then you say OK. Then we say back. Now we have interface applied here. Don't worry about the disabled. It's going because we haven't associated with any wireless wireless LAN. So let's create another interface for IT, which is in VLAN 20. So we're gonna say IT in VLAN 20. Say apply. Yeah, it's gonna take a few seconds, like I said. VLAN 20. We're gonna use port 1. It's the only one that is active in VLAN 20. VLAN 20. Let's check the IP address range. It's 10.10.30. Okay. So let's give it an IP address of 10.10.30.7. Net mask 255.255.255.0. Gateway 10.10.30. What's the gateway for here? It should be .1, right? Yes, .1. So .1. Then the DHCP server is this IP address 10.10.20.10. Then we click apply.